Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Films and Stuff. I'm Ethan, joined, as always, by the MVP, Most Valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up today?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
Saturday morning. You know the drill. It's not a routine because routines are boring. This is the weekly stream or skip segment of the Films and Stuff podcast. I introduce it, as I just have, and then I turn it over to you, and you explain to our newer listeners what exactly is the concept of stream or skip.
Alrighty, so Ethan and I have prepared lists of TV shows for each other to watch. Every week we randomly assign each other one of those shows. We watch 2 episodes if it's a series, or 30 minutes if it's a feature-length program, and on that basis we determine if that show is worthy of being streamed or skipped.
Well said, my friend. This week, I'm looking at what we had last week. Last week I was on Amazon Prime, you were on Netflix. This week, I was originally supposed to be on Disney Plus, but due to quote-unquote unavailability in my region, we had to call an audible. I have selected Widow's Bay on Apple TV Plus. I used an AI agent, and I threw all those options into a question and said, hey, which one has the best reviews? Thinking I was going to get a must subscribe. And it came out unequivocally, which is a word I always have a problem with, Widow's Bay had very, very strong approvals from critics, from viewers, and that was unanimously the option that was given to me by AI. I watched 2 episodes. I don't know, this might be a good example of an AI hallucination because I thought it was pretty rubbish. I'm a little bit surprised and disappointed for 2 reasons. One, it's on Apple TV Plus, and we have, I think, consistently found that Apple TV Plus has really, really good quality shows. 2, it stars Matthew Rhys, who, as you know, I loved from The Americans, but also I thought was incredible in The Beast in Me, which I think was also on Apple TV Plus, right? So I was actually really, really excited about this because I love me some Matthew Rhys. And the rest of the cast is actually pretty strong as well. It is created by a lady named Katie Dippold. She was one of the main writers for Parks and Recreation, which I love Parks and Recreation. So I thought everything was aligning for this to be a fantastic show. It was just released in April, so it's relatively new. And it's one of those cue the side effects, wah, wah. Very, very disappointing. I have to give it a skip. And I'm really, really surprised given all the kind of like prep I did and the AI recommendation for me. I'm not sure what I'm missing here. Let me set it up for you.
Okay.
All right. Widow's Bay is like a small island in the likes of Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, stuff like that. So to be honest, that geography is a little bit fuzzy to me. Yeah. Martha's Vineyard, where exactly it is, Nantucket, where exactly it is, all that. Like I know generally where it is, but I have to say I can't really distinguish one versus another. It's something like that in that area, but it's not ritzy at all. In fact, it's the opposite. It's very, very downtrodden. And Matthew Rhys plays the mayor. And he was not born on the island, but his parents were. But he was raised on the island. And that made him a mainlander. Think of like the difference between like Hawaii and the U.S. Like,
right.
As a kid, he was kind of like, it seems they allude to the fact that he was a little bit like outcast, like, oh, well, you're just a fancy mainlander. You're not really one of us, even though both his parents were there and everything else. His goal or his dream is that he thinks that this island has like this great location, natural beauty. It's quaint. He's like, we should be this tourist destination. And if I can make it a tourist destination, like he's just got this big vision. Like, we're going to have more tourists and they're all going to be spending money and it's going to go into the local economy. And he just has this vision that he's just going to like elevate the entire island into something big. I knew that was kind of the plot when I was getting into it. And I thought that was going to be central. Some of the, let's call them town folk, were not like so keen on having this as a tourist destination. And I thought that was just because they didn't want to deal with fancy New Yorkers. And they just wanted their, little cafe to themselves. And they wanted the peace and quiet. It's not really that. It's that they think that their island is somehow cursed or haunted. And this is where it gets kind of weird. Is that there's all this kind of like mysticism with the fog rolling in and kind of people being possessed. And there's all these allusions to like the Salem witch trials were kind of held there. Or there's like some acts of cannibalism during like a particularly bad winter when no one could kind of like get food from the mainland. So there's all this like really, really dark, I guess, lore about the island. And Matthew Rhys as the mayor, like, is aware of this. He doesn't buy into it. And he's trying to like overcome the stigma. One of the first things that we see him achieve is he gets like a writer from the New York Times to come visit. And what his vision is to have this writer see what a great island it is and fall in love with it and write this glowing article in the New York Times. And suddenly the island goes viral and everyone wants to come in for the summer season, right? Like, this is a new destination. Episode 1 deals with the writer comes to the island. It's supposed to be funny, but it doesn't at all hit funny. But like, he's trying to like micromanage the situation and make sure that everything is like goes perfect and smooth, right? And despite all his best efforts, like, everyone on the island is just like mucking it up and like counteracting what he's trying to do, right? So he's got like this really, really great agenda set up. Like, oh, you got to see this. You got to see the church tower. You've got to go to this highest point and blah, blah, blah. And like the tour guide takes him like to the insane asylum, like, like the person who's supposed to give him a tour stops by and shows him like this article about like cannibalism. Like, everything that he does like is undermined by like the people, right? He meets the crazy person who talks about like the Salem witch trials, and the writer, and everything is kind of going backwards. But despite this, the writer generally kind of likes everything. There's just a bunch of like kind of like events and so on and so forth. And ultimately, despite everyone's efforts to kind of like undermine this, maybe not intentionally, the writer goes away and writes a really, really great article. Matthew's happy. Second episode, they're preparing for kind of like the summer tourist season, and they've got like one hotel or one bed and breakfast, and it's allegedly cursed. So the mayor decides that he's going to spend the night in it and prove that it's not cursed. But then, to be honest, a bunch of weird stuff happens to him, and he's not actually sure that it's not cursed. And then no one can actually find evidence of this, but they believe him, and now he's kind of perceived as coming around to believing that the island is cursed as well. The end. I watched my 2 episodes, which is obligatory for Streamer Skip. And I have to say, it's definitely well done, production value. Although all the technical elements are there, the story is not my style, and it comes off as flat. It's definitely not funny. Like, it's not even like adjacent to funny. I think it's trying to be funny, and there's obviously like some awkwardness that you could kind of see how that's intended to elicit a laugh. But there's nothing funny going on. And the spooky element, like, I don't like scary. And it's not a horror. It's just like weird and creepy. And it just doesn't find like the right balance or the right mix, So under genre, okay, it describes itself as comedy horror, supernatural horror, mystery, and thriller. Like, that's 4 different categories, all of which are kind of like not the same. Like comedy horror and supernatural horror, maybe. Mystery and thriller. It's just wrong.
Okay.
So despite my best efforts to kind of like this show, I have to say this fell really flat for me, and I have to give it a skip.
Oh, boo. Okay.
Yeah. So that's Widow's Bay on Apple TV Plus. Surprised it got such good acclaim that it did. So take it away, buddy. Hopefully you can pick me up this week.
I definitely can, because, spoiler alert for everyone, 10 weeks into the year, I finally have my first must subscribe.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm so happy to say this. I watched a show on Peacock. Now, okay, so let's caveat this.
Yeah.
It's on Peacock, but it's going to be difficult for me to tell you what streaming platform it's going to be on, because that's an NBC show in the US.
Yeah.
It could be Hulu, it could be wherever it is. So check your local listings. You can't miss this. It's a show called Ponies.
I've heard of this. Tell me.
Let me tell you what it stands for. Ponies is an acronym.
Oh.
It's a spy term. So in the spy world, a POI is a person of interest. And that means it's usually a person who is looked out by foreign governments because they have special powers, or they have special access, or they have knowledge of special secrets of the government,
Okay.
right? A pony is a person of no interest.
Ah.
So someone who's ignored by foreign governments because they usually have no powers,
Just a normal
or no
person.
access, or no secrets, right?
Got it.
So it's just a normal person. This show is set in the 1970s in Moscow.
Okay.
It is based on the U.S. Embassy in Moscow.
Okay.
It stars Emilia Clarke, who we all know as Daenerys
Yes.
Targaryen from
Yes.
Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And Haley Lou Richardson. Both of their husbands work for the CIA, but are posing as, like, normal office diplomats at the U.S. Embassy. Because they're posed as normal men working at the embassy, they're automatically POIs, right?
Got it.
Because especially during the 70s in Russia, I mean, it happens now as well, but, there was, everyone is looking out for them, and you can see that the KGB is following them. They have a tail always. They're POIs. Their wives, however, are ponies, because typically speaking, especially in that era,
Yeah.
women were kind of an afterthought,
Right.
right? And most of them were secretaries, if they were working at all. Like in most embassies, they would typically hire the wives of the husbands to work as people in the secretary pool, so that they didn't need to bring in extra people from the U.S.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense.
Right. So in the first episode, we learned that these 2 CIA operatives are killed during an operation.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, their wives they've become widows.
Widow Bay.
And they're just like, okay, well, we got to go back. But they're not told how their husbands died,
Okay.
right? Emilia Clarke plays someone who's the only college-educated woman of that era.
Okay.
And the other one, Haley Lou Richards, plays this young, brash, like super aggressive, but not in a bad way, just, fearless woman. And she's like, well, she's kind of like one of those happy-go-lucky, this is what it is kind of things. But she too wants to find out what happened to her husband. So they make a pitch to the CIA chief and say, send us back to Russia. We're ponies. Nobody will ever put a tail on us. And we can do the work that our husbands were doing for you.
Okay.
And so they're sent back to Russia. The cover story is that they're working as secretaries. Their personal cover stories to the CIA is that we're going to continue doing the jobs that our husband were doing. But secretly, they want to find out what happened to them.
Huh. Okay.
That's the premise of the show. And then, of course, they get into all sorts of shenanigans because neither of them are really in the CIA lifestyle. Emilia Clarke is a very bookish, by the books, by the numbers, nerd kind of character. Haley Lou Richardson is kind of like a punk rebel, kind of like this is the street smart person. So individually, they both are incapable of being spy agents, but together they have exactly what it takes, right?
All right.
Book smarts and street smarts, but between the two of them. Look, in terms of production value and aesthetics, it feels like you're in the 70s. It's pretty badass. It's really good. It feels authentic. It feels funny, even though it's not meant to be, right? Like this is supposed to be a drama, but it's kind of like a drama comedy.
Okay.
Right? The chemistry between the two of them is fantastic.
Oh, really? That's great.
It's really good. Yeah, the leads between the two of them is excellent. It's definitely a fun watch. So in past must subscribes, if I've ever started watching in the evening and I've loved it, I've typically binged it throughout the night. At like 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll send you a message like, I just finished all 10 episodes.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I started this at like 9 p.m.
No way.
And honest to God, I wanted to stay up, but I couldn't. So I had to physically force myself to stop because I wanted to watch this with, clear eyes and open functioning brain. That's how good this was.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So this is definitely a must subscribe. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it to anyone. It's really good.
So Emilia Clarke, we know. Haley Lou Richardson didn't ring a bell at all, and I was just checking.
Not to me either.
But I found something that I do know her from. Did you watch the second season of White Lotus?
I did not, because remember I stopped after I watched the first episode of White Lotus season 2 and then I never watched it.
She is the assistant in the second season of White Lotus. That's the only thing that I've recognized her in, but once I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I know who that is. So that's super cool that, I don't know, like, did you watch, how many episodes is the season?
I think it's only 8 episodes.
And you finished it?
And I plan on finishing it this weekend.
All right, I'm going to have to check it out then. That sounds fantastic if it's a must subscribe from you.
It's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
Let's do one thing. I know that we have a couple other things that we want to talk about before we sign off.
Yep.
Let's quickly assign each other our next week's shows, and then we can talk about what's next.
I see that you have given me Beauty in Black, which is on Netflix, and it's actually a Tyler Perry series. So I already have a good feeling about this. I mean, we've seen a bunch of Tyler Perry stuff. I mean, he's a great creator and a great EP. So I'm pretty excited to see this. What do you have?
So I'm going to pick up the show that you missed last week, which is Disney's Wonder Man. I have access to Disney Plus, and I know that I can see it, so I will watch it and give you the review. It'll be interesting because it's a Marvel show.
Yeah.
We are expecting a Marvel movie this summer with Spider-Man.
Yep.
So whether it ties in or not, who knows? But you never know with these guys, so we'll find out.
So looking towards the MCU calendar, we've got Spider-Man this summer. And then we're supposed to have an Avengers in like December, right?
Yep, that's right. On the same day that Dune Part 3 comes, December 18th.
So you and I may be in the same location. We can do the double feature then, huh?
That's right. Exactly right.
Oh, that'll be so much fun. Okay, that's Streamer Skip, but let's add a little bit of a ramble to this, shall we?
Yeah.
What else are we watching? What else do we want to watch? And what else is kind of like coming up hot?
Okay, so I did a little bit of cleanup on my must-watch list. I caught Mortal Kombat 2, which we're not doing a full review of because you haven't seen it, and I don't think it's your genre anyway.
No, not really. Yeah.
Exactly. So I saw Mortal Kombat 2. It was okay. I actually thought the first movie was far better than the second.
Oh.
I saw Hoppers, which is the latest Pixar movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought the animation was fantastic. I thought the story was a lot of fun.
Who made Zoopolis or Utopia? Is that also Pixar?
That was also by Disney, but not by Pixar.
What's the difference between Disney animation and Pixar? Because Disney owns
So
Pixar, right?
Disney owns Pixar, but they act as separate studios.
Oh, really?
All Pixar movies are Disney, but not all Disney movies are Pixar.
Makes sense. That's got to be a competitive thing.
I saw the new Bob Odenkirk action movie, Normal.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Nobody. Nobody is getting a sequel, but that's a different movie. Or maybe actually, sorry, Nobody had a sequel, but that's a different movie. I saw that. That was fine.
Normal is where he's like the sheriff in like this weird town, right?
Normal, that's right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. He's the sheriff, and it all kind of goes tits up.
Was it good?
I don't want to say it was good, but it wasn't bad. It was. They tried to make an action movie that's kind of comedic. It didn't really land for me. Some of the action sequences were good. It was fine. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I didn't call it a skip, but I certainly don't endorse it as a must-watch.
What I don't like as a genre is what I'm just gonna make up a phrase for, but I call it like a one on many. You know, like it kind of started with Die Hard, where it's like one guy, one handgun, and they take down like everybody, right? And it kind of continued on with John Wick in a more exaggerated way.
Rambo.
Yeah,
that
but
kind
like
of- yeah.
I have to say, like nobody was like that. And I guess I feel like Normal is like that as well, where it's like one person against all odds, against everybody, whether they're really well trained or not trained. They've got to do everything, you know? Like, those movies generally, I think, have kind of run their course for me. Rambo obviously was an exception. And I think that was probably the first one where you're like, wow, this guy's so menacing, you know, he can do everything. And then it was Die Hard. Of course, Bruce Willis, you know, breathed life in that character like no one else could. And then, I mean, John Wick, just because of like the action and the cinematography. But now I feel like I just can't watch another one of these movies, no matter who it is.
Oh, and then I saw the latest Jack Ryan movie starring John Krasinski. Of The
Oh,
Office.
yeah. So this is on Netflix, right?
That's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. You're right.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I've seen that. Like, it's come up on my feed. I feel like I want to see that. I like John Krasinski as Jack Ryan. And I have to say, that Jack Ryan as a character has really withstood the test of time, right? It was originally, I think, Harrison Ford.
No, the first was actually Alec
Baldwin.
in The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, that was Jack Ryan. That's right. Yeah, The Hunt for Red October. Like, the Jack Ryan character has really kind of endured a little bit like Bondish, huh?
Yeah.
I will definitely see that. If we're sticking with Amazon, season 2 of Citadel is out.
Yeah, that's right. We mentioned this a couple weeks ago. You've watched a few of the episodes or not yet?
I started episode 1. I didn't make it through, not because of anything good or bad. I made it like halfway through, and it's I'm very neutral on it so far.
Okay.
And then I guess if we're really sticking with Amazon, we can say The Boys. I think you finished the last season. The series, right? I
The
have
series
not
finale, that's right.
Yet. Yeah.
It ended last week, or this last week at the time of this recording. But yes, it is. I'll reserve judgment until you watch it, and then maybe we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, we can have a recap. I think I'm 1.5 episodes away, but I'm seeing it wrapping up soon. Okay.
Yeah. Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV.
Oh,
that's come
yeah.
To a close. I think there's only 1 or 2 more episodes left.
Can I just take a moment to tell you why I feel like Friends and Neighbors is so fantastic? There's no shortage of television out there or entertainment that has the typical nuclear family, the husband, the wife, the 2 kids, going through a bunch of like drama, right? The kids are acting up and there's like marital infidelity and job issues and money issues and drama and so forth. That's not new. And usually those shows really grate on me. I mean, how many times have I ranted about like, the misbehaving kids, and I'm so tired of like dealing with someone's stressful problems. I'm trying to watch this show to like de-stress my life. Why am I getting into their stuff?
Right.
Friends and Neighbors is really different, partly because John Hamm is your Nicolas Cage, right? John Hamm to me is Nicolas Cage to you. But I have to say, there's something about that show, and I think it's the narration by John Hamm that puts things into perspective where, like, he just makes, maybe it's because I'm kind of like of the age of that show as well, but he just kind of puts like these life lessons into perspective and makes like these really poignant statements about kind of like life. And I feel like it's a really cathartic, therapeutic, like healthy show to watch, how people are generally struggling to make good decisions or get themselves kind of like back on track. And it's not necessarily viewed in like a drama way, but just in a like, well, that's life. You've kind of got to roll with the punches and kind of like come to grips that not everything is going to be perfect and within your control, you know? But I feel like John Hamm's narration and the statements he makes take it from a show that I would ordinarily be very annoyed and bored by to like, to be honest, finding it like a little bit emotionally healthy to watch.
Yeah, I think what it is he's saying the things that everyone else would be too afraid to say.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's theoretically narrated from his own mind,
Yeah.
he can afford to say those things, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
you would never hear him talk about the fact that his ex-wife has really mucked everything up on any other show. And he
Yeah.
has a genuine fondness for his family, but at the same time, he's openly willing to talk about how much they've mucked things up.
Yeah. I really have to say I've got very, very positive things to say about Friends and Neighbors. I think it's really entertaining. I think it's funny. I love all the characters. I think they've done great character development. So I find that show fantastic. Okay. What else are we watching? I'm going to start on Netflix, season 2 of Berlin, which is...
Yes, you mentioned this. I never watched the first season. This is the spin-off of Money Heist.
Yeah, so it's a spin-off of Money Heist. Remember all the different, like, characters in that gang had city names, right? There was
They were all
Nairobi,
capitals.
Nairobi, Berlin, Tokyo,
Rio.
Helsinki, right?
Yeah.
This follows, season 1 was Berlin kind of like on his own, and he had his own little merry gang of criminals, and they did their own heist.
Right.
Now season 2 is back doing something very, very similar. So I would say if you like Berlin, you will get your money's worth. If you don't like Berlin or you didn't like season 1, it's really a lot of the same, so you're not going to like this. But it's very true and faithful to his... Like, he's got like this little... You may not remember it, but he has like this little confidence and swagger to him. Like, it's almost like impossible to kind of like knock that smile off of his face. Like, he always sees kind of like a... Oh, don't worry, we'll emerge from this unscathed. I got it covered kind of thing, you know? So I'm going to start season 2 of Berlin, but I really like the first one. So if you're a Berlin fan or a Money Heist fan, I think you will like that. Then there's 2 other movies that while we're waiting to see Mandalorian and Grogu, I saw Michael.
So I still haven't seen it. I've heard only good things about it.
Yeah, it's impossible to give spoilers because it's a biopic, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's not like, well, did he make it?
If you know Michael Jackson, you know the movie.
Right. But I thought that it was despite the controversy around the man, I think that it focused on the right things, which was his music and him as an entertainer, and therefore sidestepped conveniently all of that kind of drama. But as a movie that just kind of focused on him as an emerging entertainer, I thought it was very, very well done. And I thought that it really highlighted the fact that he was kind of a strange character, but his strangeness resulted in like an art or like an output that was like at the time and even now, like mind-blowing, right? Like the things that he did in terms of, you know, the dance and the songs and the everything. Like he was really quite capable. So I thought it was very, very good. If you like Michael Jackson, you'll like it. And then the other thing I want to see that's in the cinemas is In the Gray.
You're lucky because it's not in the cinemas for me, and I'm dying to watch this. This is the new Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, it's Guy Ritchie. It's Superman. Well, the old Superman. Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Eliza Gonzalez. Rosamund Pike is in it. I'm excited. I don't know if the story's so great. I really want to see this.
I don't know anything about it.
I think I saw like a mini trailer of it, and it was not a typical, like, Guy Ritchie movies are usually kind of like small time crooks or big time crooks in like south end of like London, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not that. This seems to be more of, do you remember Extraction with Thor? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this seems to be more of an extraction type jungle, whether it's Africa or South America type movie.
Okay.
Where Cavill and Gyllenhaal are either competing for the same thing or they're teaming up for the same thing, one or the other. But this seems to be what that is. But I saw, like I said, I think I saw just like a mini trailer, like the gym between episodes or something. I saw like a mini trailer. I was like, oh, that seems pretty good. I wonder what that is. And I'm like, oh, Guy Ritchie, huh? I wouldn't have expected that. It's not based in London at night, you know? So that's everything that's on my list. Am I missing anything?
No, that's kind of it. I mean, we've got a couple... After this, we've got a couple of big releases, but not until June.
Yeah.
We've got Toy Story, we've got...
Our predictees are going to get real starting in June.
Yeah, June and July are the big months. We've got Supergirl, Toy Story, Minions, Moana, The Odyssey, Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh, The Odyssey.
It's a big couple of...
The Odyssey is like the most talked about unknown movie, right?
So much controversy, especially in the last 2 weeks. It's crazy.
What's the controversy?
So the huge controversy they're going after now is that the online trolls are complaining about the fact that Christopher Nolan has hired people of color to play a couple of different characters.
Is this based on a true story?
And no, I mean, that's the whole point, is that it's not, right? I mean, The Odyssey was a myth. Yeah. It was a tale written by Homer. It's not a true story at all, obviously not.
Okay.
I mean, for God's sakes, it's got people it's got gods in the story, right? Gods and goddesses in the story. So a lot of people were complaining about the fact that Zendaya plays Athena and that Lupita Nyong'o plays some character, and they're just like, oh my God, well, ancient Greek, how could you have black people in there? It should have all been white people and all that. The typical ultra-conservative / racist views that these trolls have. To which my response is, look, Christopher Nolan hasn't let us down yet. Like, just trust the process. It's a fictional movie based on a fictional piece of work. Let's just watch the movie and see what it is.
Pete, I consider myself well-educated and well-informed. And generally, I think one of my good qualities is that I can kind of sit at a table with almost any walk of life from anywhere and usually find like a good common topic. My literature, if I was at a table and people were discussing Homer and the Odyssey and the Iliad and like asked what I think, this is where I fail. Like, I have to say, like, seriously, if you said, apart from, I just had to look it up on Wikipedia. But if you would have asked me literally 90 seconds ago, who is Homer? I would have been like, he was like an important author? Maybe? My literature is really, really rubbish. So I have to say, what you just taught me in that little diatribe about the Odyssey is more than I ever knew about the Odyssey in my entire life. And my 2-paragraph skimming on Wikipedia just now has actually taught me probably more about Greek poems, the Iliad, than I've ever known before. I'm extraordinarily weak in this. So I have to say, not only has Christopher Nolan's Odyssey been a mystery, but for me it was like a double mystery, because I'm like, what is the Odyssey? I honestly didn't even know that it was a piece of fiction until you told me. So
it was my favorite book was The Odyssey. In high school, I read it countless number of times, so I'm very excited to see what it is. So we'll see, I trust Christopher Nolan.
Listeners will also know that if there's a book written about it, Pete has somehow read it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's like Lord of the Rings, House of the Dragon, or Game of Thrones, or whatever. For sure, I don't think we've ever talked about a piece of IP that you haven't read the book. And in fact, more than 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100, you tell me it's based on a book, and I'm like, oh, really? Like, that's a surprise to me. There's a recent one. Was it The Martian? It was The Martian and
Project Hail Mary. Yeah.
Project Hail Mary, which it was like a double whammy surprise. That first, I was surprised that both of those were based on books. And then you like double blew my mind by saying that it was the same author. And I was like, I feel like you're a very typical British educated man. Like you know the classics, like you've read everything. And I feel like I'm the more typical, like, college-educated American. Like, that's based on a book? Maybe that's a statement on the difference in our education systems. But I have to say, not to diminish myself, I think I'm very, very good in almost every other topic. But when it comes to books and literature, I am at a 0 level.
No. I don't think that's true, but that's fine. Look, that's the whole point of this, is we fill in each other's knowledge gaps.
And hopefully for listeners as well, if they weren't aware of anything about the Odyssey.
Yeah.
All right, Pete, give us our social media, YouTube, and other creds.
All right. Like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to hit that notification bell so that you know when the next episode of the Films and Stuff podcast drops for you.
Which should be next week. Pete, thank you as always for an elucidating, educational, and fun Streamer Skip. Listeners, thank you for tuning in, and we shall see you next week, next episode of the Films and Stuff podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.